All right, Chief. Okay, where do we want to lie? Where I can read. Little DD, Millie. Chapter 3. If I can find it. Daniel's new friends. I think I'm in chapter 3. I'll read ahead, then I forget which one I'm at because I don't remember. Yeah, okay. I'm good, I think. I think that, yeah, the stripes are coming from through the window. I'm not going to get up and do it because it's too much of a pain in the neck. Okay, Daniel's new friends, chapter 3. Daniel stood in the tall grass holding onto the handlebars of the old red bicycle. The old red bicycle. Some water on it. See if I can grab it without doing this. I don't know what happened earlier. Come on. My sheets were all wet, and I think I must have thrown one of these bottles over here and it leaked. And there he was. Daniel stood in the tall grass, holding onto the handlebars of the old red bicycle, looking down at his feet. If he could have run away, he would have, since he felt so embarrassed. But he realized the spirit flyer wasn't moving anywhere soon, and he knew enough to stick with the old bike. He still had the feeling his freckles must be glowing on and off. Finally, he felt enough courage to look up into the eyes of the brown-haired girl. She was still smiling. Daniel didn't understand such a mysterious smile. The girl seemed very old, like a woman for an instant, and then once again just a girl. Daniel thought she was extremely pretty. Then thinking that made him feel funny inside. He couldn't describe the feeling. More than anything, he felt the same old embarrassment, and he usually felt around people. I'll go away, Daniel said as he pushed the bike again. Really, I will, just as soon as this bike will roll. I don't think you're going anywhere, the girl said with a smile. She almost seemed to be laughing. But I bet if you push it toward the house, it will roll. Try it. Daniel shrugged his shoulders, not knowing what else to do. He turned the bike toward the house. As soon as he pushed, the tires rolled easily. Daniel looked at the girl with new respect, wondering how she knew. Experience. Backrest is not doing good. Neither's my voice. Need an inflated or a chair cushion. Mucho better. Okay. I apologize. I'm tired. Out watering today, and we had a dog here that had pups, and feeding her and getting her water. She was starving, and then I watered the whole orchard and gardens. I can go to sleep right now, but I won't until I finish this. Okay. So, here we go. I just did that. Wad of blanket for a cushion. You did, that's what I did. My blankets were sitting here. I got them all the way across the back so I can feel that. Because I'm sitting on them. Uno segundo, 1 second. Oh, okay, now it's really much better. Okay. Woo! Wee doggy, as Uncle Jed would say. I was really going to swing on my hammock before I did my swing before I did this. I bought a Rio chair. It's a hammock swinging and sky chair, and it really helps. Help me wake up. It would help. Okay. All right. Enough goofing around. Let's get going here. Got people to go and places to see. As soon as he pushed, the tires rolled easily. Daniel looked at the girl with new respect, wondering how she knew. Come on, Susan said. She waved him forward. John was walking by her. Daniel followed them. Every so often the girl would look back and smile encouragingly. Her smile made him feel good, yet nervous. Daniel hoped some of the redness was leaving his face. He was glad that the bicycle hid his limp. The children stopped at the two big blue doors of the long white building. You can leave your bike here, the girl said. Come, let me show you something. Daniel knocked down the kickstand with his foot. John opened one of the big blue doors and went inside. Susan walked over to the door and waited. Come on, she urged and smiled again. Daniel walked forward, immediately aware of his limp. He felt hot all over again under her gaze. He knew he was turning red and hated himself for it, but it only made it worse. He looked down and walked into the cool shade of the building. Still looking down, the first thing he saw were two big balloon tires of bicycle wheels on the cement floor. Daniel's heart leaped as he looked up and saw not only one but two old red bicycles. His face became a big grin when he saw the name Spirit Flyer in the familiar white letters. He walked over and looked down, looked below the center of the handlebars. He smiled. Three golden crowns linked together were stuck right into the metal. Daniel touched them softly. The crowns were a sign the bicycles were indeed genuine Spirit Flyers. You knew, he said to them, you have Spirit Flyers too. Anyone with a Spirit Flyer can't be all bad, Susan said. Right, John? That's right, the boy said. I'm sorry if I was a little rough on you before. I guess I was surprised to see anyone out here, and since you're new in town, we just didn't know. A lot of changes have been happening in Centerville lately, and they haven't been good. What do you mean, Daniel asked. Come have some iced tea first, Susan said. I bet you're thirsty. The children were in a small front room, rather like a hallway, but a door was open to another room beyond. Susan led the way. Daniel followed the two children. The room was huge and took up the rest of the building. A long workbench ran down most of one wall. Boxes covered with dust were lying all over the room, everywhere Daniel looked. A space had been cleared on the section of the workbench. A big green and white jug sat on the edge near some empty pint canning jars. Susan held an empty canning jar up to the spout at the bottom of the jug and pushed the little button. Tea squirted into the glass container. When the pint jar was nearly full, she gave it to Daniel. He took a long drink and suddenly realized how thirsty he had been. The tea was cold and refreshing. He drank half of it in one long gulp. Have a seat, Susan said. Both she and John sat down backways on old wooden chairs so their arms were folded over the upright back of the chair. Daniel sat down on a stool near the workbench. He looked around the large room once more. In one corner, big power tools covered in dust and cobwebs stood silently on heavy metal legs. The room was like his old school industrial workshop. Where did you get your Spirit Flyer, John asked Daniel. In the city where I used to live, I had a friend named Dirk, whose whole family had Spirit Flyers, Daniel said. They moved to the same apartment complex about 4 months ago. They used to go out riding on Sundays and asked me along. I didn't believe they really flew and all like my friend had said. I thought they were just ugly old bikes. But I went along. Anyway, we went out to the country to his campground, and sure enough, when they got on their bicycles and the way they flew, right up into the air, I couldn't believe it. I know just the feeling you mean, Susan said with a smile. Our family has Spirit Flyers, but we've only still ridden all together as a family just 4 or 5 times. The feeling is more special when you do it together like that, but my parents always seem too busy. When you ride together like that, but my parents always seem too busy. Or too afraid, John added with an impatient frown. Well, I was real scared the first time I rode one, Daniel admitted. Anyway, they gave me a ride and told me about the Three Kings and told me that I could have a Spirit Flyer free for the asking. I really wanted one, but then I saw the chains for the first time. We know about those chains, Susan said, nodding her head. I didn't even realize I had a chain until they showed me, Daniel said. My friend Dirk flipped the old light on his bike, and I looked down, and sure enough, there was a chain around my neck, and it was locked with this big, dark lock. That's when they began telling me about the Three Kings and treason and the war going on in the deeper world. At first, I thought it was some kind of fairy tale, but the more they talked, the more it all made sense. Nothing else could explain the chain or the power of the Spirit Flyers. I was pretty confused. I hardly slept that night or the rest of the week, but I could sure feel the chain just as much as I could feel the limp in my leg, only worse. Deep down, I finally realized how much of a slave I was to the chain. I asked the Three Kings to free me from the chain. I woke up the next morning and found the Spirit Flyer right in my bedroom. When I rolled the bike out to the kitchen, my mother was full of questions. I told her the whole story, but she didn't believe me. She still thinks I'm just pretending or something. She has never believed a word I've said about my Spirit Flyer. I know that feeling, John Kramer said. nodding his head sympathetically. Susan smiled and Daniel felt more at ease. Besides, Susan smiled. Daniel felt more at ease. Besides Dirk, his family, and two other boys, Daniel hadn't known any other people with spirit flyers. Dirk, his family. You said your mom and dad are divorced, Susan asked. Yeah, Daniel said. That's too bad, Susan said, sensing the red-headed boy's pain. My mom and dad disappeared in a storm when I was 4 years old, she said. He said. John said. Yeah. Hey, when I get on here, if I got the fan running, if I can't, you can't hear me, holler out. Gad. How does it sound so far? Fan's okay, okay, good. Well, I turned it off, whatever. Anyway. You said your mom and dad are divorced, Susan said? Yeah, Daniel said. They're too bad, Susan said, sensing the red-headed boy's pain. My mom and dad disappeared in a storm when I was 4 years old, John said. Everyone says a tornado got them. All they found was their car all smashed up. I've lived with Susan's family ever since. Daniel shuddered. He suddenly felt sorry for him. At least my parents were alive, Daniel thought. I was in a car crash too about 3 years ago, Daniel said. That's when I hurt my leg. A drunk driver ran through a red light and hit us. My right leg got crushed. The end of the bone was injured and didn't grow right. So now that leg is shorter than my regular left leg. I used to be pretty good at sports, but not anymore. That's a shame, Susan said. Daniel looked at her. Her face was filled with concern. Thanks, Daniel said, not sure why he said it. My dad was hurt in the car wreck too. He really hurt his hip bone. His hip got better, but he was never quite the same. Everything seemed to change. He and my mom just didn't get along. I don't know why it all happened. Daniel stopped talking. He felt uncomfortable talking about his parents and their problems. He knew his mother wouldn't like it if he said too much about their family to total strangers. Yet Daniel didn't feel the two children were strangers at all since they had spirit flyers. This is my mom and dad's old workshop, John Kramer told Daniel. They had spirit flyers too, and so do our grandfather and grandmother. They know a lot about the three kings in the deeper world and all sorts of things. Grandfather Kramer was one who gave us our copy of the Book of the Kings, the girl added. Dirk's family gave me my copy, Daniel said. You can buy them almost anywhere, though. eBay, Amazon, I don't think so. Do you guys have a pair of Spirit Flyer vision goggles? I got a pair a few weeks ago. They can really help you see into deeper into things, Susan said, and smiled. John Kramer nodded. Daniel took another gulp of iced tea. The room was suddenly quiet. By the way, why did you guys disappear at the school this morning? Daniel asked. Because of that creepy Mrs. Happy, that's why, Susan Kramer said. Her whole face changed in an instant. She was giving out number cards again and those free Goliath toys, John added. What's wrong with that? Daniel asked. He pulled the black number card out of his pocket. He stared down at the dark image of his own face on the black plastic. I picked out a couple of toys too since they were free, my mom forced me to do it. He didn't say that. The two Kramer children looked back and forth at each other. Daniel began to feel uncomfortable. She processed you too, didn't she? Susan asked. She must have processed every new kid in the town today. Everyone has these cards from what I understand, Daniel said. Don't you guys? The two Kramer children exchanged glances again. Daniel thought they were being overly secretive. We still have the cards, Susan said slowly. We tried to destroy them, first with the lights on the spirit flyers, then by burning them and cutting them up. Nothing works. They always come back. What do you mean? Daniel asked. You can't get rid of them, Don replied with a sigh. I've thrown mine away 100 times, and each time it just comes back. They disappear on your dresser or inside your pocket. There's something wrong with those cards. We don't know exactly how they work, but it's like they are little pieces of darkness from the deeper world. I thought I saw the face on mine move, Daniel said. Your face moved too, John asked. I bet it's the ghost slave. I knew it. Susan had never seen it because her face because she was never put on the card. Only unmarked person in town, huh? Or child. I thought that old woman said they were some kind of identification card, Daniel said. What do you mean about ghost slaves? I read about that ghost slaves in the Book of the Kings, but I didn't quite understand what they were. Ghost slaves are sort of like the person you used to be before you got your spirit flyer, Susan said. But they are still in the deeper chains, and they try to control you. They don't really have any power unless you give it to them. Then you've got trouble. How do you give them power, Daniel asked. It's kind of tricky, John said. Ghosts can only scare you if you believe in them and believe they can hurt you. Ghost slaves are sort of the same. You make them come to life by being afraid of them. They shake the chain and try to make you think you are never freed from the deeper chains yourself. But it's all lies and tricks because we are free in the kingdom of the kings, Susan added. Only sometimes you don't feel free. That's when ghost slaves really try to control you. It's all part of the battle going on in the deeper world. Neither of us quite understands how the number cards work, but I think they're made of the same material as those black windows that Mrs. Happy has in our store. Black windows? Need some reflective backlighting stuff is what I need. Get some water. Black windows? Daniel asked. Well, they aren't really windows like regular window, John answered. They're sort of like holes or passageways into the deeper world. Gates, yeah, portals. And we think the number cards are made of the same material, and since every kid in town has them, we think she's going to use them in some sort of bad way. Only we don't know what it is yet or how to find it. Daniel pulled a number card out of his pocket. He looked closely at the shadowy reflection of his face. Though something about the card gave him a creepy feeling, he wondered if the Kramer children, were just exaggerating. There's also something wrong with the toys she gives out, in a deeper way, Susan said, and there's something wrong with Goliath Industries, too, if you ask me. All of this is part of a deeper attack. Like the battles mentioned in the Book of Kings, I think the whole town of Centerville is in for a lot of trouble with Goliath opening up that factory. What do you mean, Daniel asked. My mother works for Goliath Industries. She thinks it is the best job she's ever had. And what's wrong with Goliath toys? Daniel suddenly felt defensive because of his mother. Although he didn't get along that well with her, it still hurt him to think of his newly found friends not liking the place where she worked. Too bad. Side with reality. As he thought of his mother, he suddenly remembered to look at his watch. It was almost 1 o'clock. Daniel couldn't believe how quickly time had gone. I've got to go, he said suddenly. He drank the rest of the tea and set the empty jar on the bench. I was supposed to be home for lunch a half an hour ago. She'll really be mad. Daniel rushed for the door. He forgot all about his limp. He was already on his spirit flyer by the time the Kramer kids got up with him. We can talk later, Susan said. She smiled, but Daniel thought he saw something new in her face, some kind of doubt. He hoped he was just imagining what he saw. See, Daniel said. He began pedaling the old red bike. He aimed the handlebar toward the sky, and the tires lifted quietly into the air. Daniel waved back at it. He pushed the handlebar down, Yeah, right, I don't understand that. Tires lifted quietly into the air. Daniel waved back at the children on the ground and then shot higher into the sky. When he was above all the trees, he saw the two smokestacks of the Goliath Industries factory and the water tower of Centerville. He stood up on the pedals of the old bicycle, and the spirit flyer jumped forward like in a hum. That puts it, warp 2, Mr. Zulu. Back on the ground near the workshop, Susan and John Kramer watched him shoot out of sight. He was in a hurry, John said. I hope he doesn't get in trouble, Susan said. Well, maybe his mom will understand, John replied. I don't mean that, the girl said. I mean with the number card and those Goliath toys. He doesn't really know the dangers yet. He didn't seem to know what the glow safe can do to you. Susan twisted a strand of her brown hair as she stared into the sky. Oh, she had last seen her new friend. He'll find out soon enough, I imagine, John replied. Let's get back to work. Maybe we can find something in my mom and dad's stuff that will help us, all of us, like more of those keys. What keys? I don't know. Susan nodded. She followed her cousin back into the workshop. She looked through the sky once more and then closed the big blue doors behind them. I wonder what's behind the other blue door. Must be a little room in there or something. Maybe we'll find out someday, right? Okay, well, hallelujah. Oh, man. Zero hit the floor. Must hit the floor. Come on. I don't seize it. Oh. Yep. Get down there. Oh. Man, oh man, I'm tired. I'm beat. I'm still trying to get stuff off my old phone. I'm going to call Verizon probably tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, and tell them I ain't sending the phone in until I get my data off of it. And if you don't like it and you want to charge me $500, I'm going to go to the carrier. The heck with them. I'm so upset about the whole thing. It's a nightmare. It's been a nightmare for like a whole week now. Absolute insanity. There's another company, Visible, that uses the same towers, has far better signal around here, and I could probably cut my bill in half. That could be $100 more to spend every month. I'm spending $200 every month. My latest bill is like $216. It's nutty. I haven't even looked at why it's so high. That's not right. Anyway. Okay, so blah 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 blah. See if anybody's on. Still. Yeah, you're the only one. And there we was. Sounds okay, okay. Or here at Russell Cell, they can do the data transfer for you. Or here, where's Russell Cell? That's in Bolivar. Are you still in Stockton? Are you in Bolivar? You're in Bolivar. You're supposed to be in Bolivar. Are you in Bolivar or Stockton? I thought you was in Stockton. Anyway, yeah, I know they can, but too bad, you know, I don't have a vehicle to get over there, do I? So, I about got some of it. I got most of the data. They always capriciously does not update or, transfer your text and things, and it left off two people with a lot of really, really important texting. And why did it let off the two that were most important? I don't know. Go slow, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to load them back on. I'm sending them to email and calling them, sending them to email. And contacts, it deleted those same two contacts. It's really dumb. Anyway, okay, I'm about tired. Good night. Gad, are you in Gulliver? And if you're in Bolivar, I'll get in there once in a while. I stop by and say hi. Oh, you're still there? Okay. Woods. Same place you were? Just past Woods? Just before Woods. I thought you were before Woods. Anyway, well, shoot me an address sometime. Get together. You got a phone, I think? Yeah. Yep, same house. Okay. That's not past Woods, though. Is it? It's before Woods. Weren't you across from Casey's? Next block from Casey's? Russell is between Woods and the restaurant? Oh, yours. Russell Cellular has a place in Stockton? Are you kidding me? In Stockton? No way. Huh. The restaurant meaning Enrique's and the Country Coroner? There used to be a place there. Oh yeah, maybe there is. I don't know. Yeah, I was in there once upon a time. Yo-Tone. Yo-Tone. What's Yo-Tone? Okay, I'm tired. Turn the AC back on and lay down for a while and transfer my damn phone stuff. Okay. All right, well, thanks for the info. Yeah, I forgot about that. I was in there once upon a time a while back. I drive by there, I didn't see it. I went to Enrique's one time. And it's in the shopping center just before Enrique's. Yeah. When you say the restaurant, you must mean Enrique's in Corner. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. I know. I'll look it up. Thank you. All right. Good to know. I might need them someday. Not now, but yeah. Pretty much a pisser on this deal. I'm very upset. But tell them to send me a damn SIM card that works. I think the problem is the SIM card because the new phone's overheating just like the old phone was. Heat up, go dead. Heat up, go dead. Piece of crap. Looking for a better phone too. All right, good night. Yeah, I'll bless you, buddy. Someday we get together. My left hand is not as strong as it used to be.